Namaskar, welcome to my YouTube channel Scarab's Tech Talk. So continuing this video from the next part, already I said we will start with that. We will discuss detail that virtualization technology, cloud virtualization technology. So in this video, I am going to discuss virtualization technology. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss in this video. Introduction, why virtualization, virtualization benefits, types of virtualization like storage, application and network virtualization, and then how the virtualization will be implemented using this tool hypervisor. So we'll go through all this topic in this video. So virtualization is the founding concept behind the successful adoption of cloud computing to emulate hardware through virtualization. So it helps to utilize full capabilities of resources. So on-demand virtual resources can be provided to the users. So whenever they want, we can provide them. So what is virtualization? So with the expansion of computing, internet and the latest mobile technology, the term virtual has become popular. So what is the virtual, like shopping online on virtual stores? Virtual guides create virtual tours based on budget and time. Download and store videos, song in our personalized library, and that also virtual. Virtualization is technology that helps us to create a logical virtual object of an actual physical object. So it is not physically exist but virtually exist. So this is the virtualization technology. So it's creating virtual object of an actual physical object, but it feels like it is a real object. It involves distribution of capabilities of physical machine among the users. Same resources with multiple users, and every user feels like entire resource belongs to them. So resources, operating system, storage, network, these are the resources. Typically whatever computing resources we have. So enables optimize usage of resources and ultimately reduces various costs like license, purchase, infrastructure setup. So whatever their resource have, they will use. If they want extra, they will pay for that and they will get it, or they don't have to go for various costs like they have to get extra purchase of license purchase, then they have to set up infrastructural setup. Like earlier operating system, if they want new operating system, you have to get the new operating system, new version operating system, then their license and everything. If you want extra storage, you have to add extra storage for that. Now everything available through this virtualization technique. Over the cloud they provide everything. Even the operating system, for the same machine we can have different operating system, and all operating systems shares the same physical resources, and whenever they use that operating system, that thinks that entire resource belongs to them only. So how the working of virtualization, how the virtualization work. So a guest OS application or data storage is separated from the underlying software or hardware. So whatever we have hardware and software we have. So if we want to have one extra OS or application or data storage will be separated. But once they use that, they feel like entire physical resource belongs to them. So use a software layer called hypervisor. Just physical resource, and then there is a layer for that virtual resources, that is hypervisor. Hypervisor emulates the underlying hardware, and the guest OS feels that entire resource belongs to them. So hypervisor take the physical resource and separate the resources. They are installed directly on the hardware. So hypervisors. So like we have virtual machine, VMware, Gen. These are the hypervisor technique. So this is traditional architecture. You have application, you have operating system, and then you have hardware. So this is the, and we have only operating system and one application. If you want separate operating system, that you have to divide your storage capacity, in that operating system will be there. And through virtual architecture, you have this hardware, and then virtual VMware. In VMware, you will have several operating system, and then each operating system have their own application. So this is traditional architecture, this is virtual architecture, but the same physical resources, there are multiple operating system working, and how they will working through this VMware. That is only emulating entire resources for each of them, and each of them, whenever they will be in the use, they feel entire physical resource belongs to them. So let's see, without a virtual machine, single OS owns all hardware resources. So this is operating system, application, all memory, and this keyboard, network, storage, whatever you have, processor, graphics, everything belongs to the same one single machine. Now with virtual machine, multiple OSs share hardware resource. So virtual machine monitor, that is your one layer between both, and then you have VM1, VM2, and we have same physical host hardware. And sometimes you can have one physical OS, and on top of that you will have different virtual machines also. So you can have one virtual layer, you will have one virtual machine, one virtual other virtual machine, and they will have their own virtualized all physical resources. So they feel entire physical resource belongs to them. When you are in this virtual machine, entire physical resource belongs to that. When you are in this virtual machine, entire physical resource belongs to them. But there is only one physical hardware. The main focus of virtualization is to increase the utilization of underlying hardware resources to its maximum capacity. So result in decreased hardware cost by running multiple virtualized instances in one physical machine. Running an application in virtual mode requires exclusive access to the processor. So the task of operating system is to implement abstraction and make sure there is no interface between applications. So whenever they will run on that virtual mode, so they will feel like entire resources belongs to them. So that will implement abstraction and make sure there is no interface between applications. So one application is running and they feel like entire resource belongs to them, and then other application runs, then also how much resource they want, they will get that. So that is the task of operating system. So virtualization terminology. So what is virtual machine? The virtual machine is essentially a virtual representation of computer resource, emulation of that physical hardware. It can do everything a physical machine does. It is virtualized and delivered over a network. So it is virtualized and delivered over network also, which is physical resource it cannot be. VMs are software based and can often run more than one virtual machine on the same physical machines. So two versions of Windows running at the same time or different operating system, like Linux on Windows, Windows on MacBook. So your host is Linux, sorry Windows, and guest is Linux, or Windows on MacBook, like MacBook is host, Windows are guest. So that is your virtualization technique. So the same physical machines, they can have multiple operating system, multiple machines, virtual machine can be running on that. So virtual server, so whichever pass over through this internet, over the internet, or emulate through this virtual machine, that is only that virtual server. So it acts like a same as server only, like earlier machines which act like server, so that becomes server. Now virtual machine that acts as a server, that is virtual server. This server runs in virtual environment. They will have virtual network, virtual resources, virtual storage, everything they have virtual only. So companies maintain servers on premises and host virtual machines in traditional approach. They will have servers and they emulate them as virtual server, and they cloud service providers, and they will provide over the internet. So that is only virtual server. So with the same resources, they can have multiple servers. One server, they have one physical server, and top of the layer they will have the virtualized layer, and then they can have multiple virtual servers, and which can be shared with the different clients. So virtual server is hosted over the internet and acts like a traditional server only. So how that can be implemented? So that is in hypervisor, that is a small OS that enables virtualization. Its job is to take the physical hardware resource and combine them into a platform. Then it is delivered virtually to one or many different users. So then you have infrastructure, hypervisor. So guest operating system, app, a virtual machine. So this is the role of hypervisor. This is also software layer which virtualize entire infrastructure over internet. Also it can provide the users over the internet, and they can feel like entire resource belongs to them. So now next, what is host system? So also referred as parent, where the physical hardware and software is installed. These components are then copied by the hypervisor and delivered in virtual state to the user. A guest system, also referred as child, where the VM is accessed. User interact with the VM under the impression it is communicating with the hardware. So guest system is virtual. Virtual infrastructure, when different types of virtual machines are combined together into one solution, including hardware, storage, desktop, and servers, then it becomes virtual infrastructure. So earlier, when it was physically everything combined, that called infrastructure, and everything is now over the internet or over through the software layer hypervisor, then that construct a virtual infrastructure. So the solution can be deployed into businesses. So this is just like a clone. The action of taking one VM and creating an exact copy and using it by another user or computer, that is called cloning. So you have internet that cover enough storage network, fiber channel, and then you have this virtual infrastructure, virtual machine, hypervisor, and this all connected together, and this makes virtual infrastructure over the actual infrastructure. So two types of hypervisor. One is bare metal or native. One is type 2 hypervisor. Type 1 hypervisor runs directly on the host hardware. Type 2 hypervisor runs a software layer on OS. So one directly runs on hardware, one runs software on an OS. After one OS, then one hypervisor. So there are two types of that. Most commonly used hypervisor is type 1. So like type 1 hypervisor, you have hardware hypervisor, then you have guest OS. Now type 2 hardware is hardware, host OS, hypervisor, guest OS, guest OS. So in generally those who provide virtual machine over the internet, they use this, and generally those who use that user applications, or they use simple desktop or laptop, they use hardware, and then they have host OS and some virtual machine, virtual VMware software, virtual box. In that they can, if they want another OS, they will install another OS in that. Running an application needs an access to the processor. So OS system implements an abstraction between the application to avoid interference. So this is achieved by the maintaining privilege level or protection rings. So which can access what kind of access resources they can access. Use of this level provide logical space and permission required for executions. So these are the protection rings, privilege levels or protection rings. So like they can use through the kernel, then ring 0, ring 1, ring 2, 3, ring, that is the outer layer. So outer layer is then used by the applications, then device drivers, then device drivers, then kernel directly ring 0. Kernel is the heart of OS, so that is most privileged. They can access directly the hardware. So that way they will do that protection also. It is the most privileged level. Code running in this level is kernel mode. Processing running in kernel mode can affect the entire system. So if anything fails here, it will probably result in system shutdown. This is highest privilege level. So once it guns, entire system will get shut down. This ring has direct access to CPU and system memory. Ring 2 and 3 device drivers are maintained and updated at this level. It is the least privileged ring. Any code running here will be in the user mode, direct applications. Most application on the computer will be running in this ring. This ring has no direct access to the CPU or memory. It will go through like a ring 2 device driver and then kernel mode, and then they get whatever they want. So they execute anything, the infrastructure is fast to ring 0. So techniques of virtualization. So like there are full virtualization, para virtualization, hardware assisted virtualization. So these are three types of, or three categories of virtualization. So primary hardware is replicated and made available to the guest OS. That is full virtualization. The guest OS is unaware that it is being virtualized. Each virtual machine has its guest OS separate as independent computer. They feel like entire resource belongs to them, so they're independent as computers. So affects performance of the system because same hardware is replicated to that guest. So only one they can get, and sometimes it will affect the performance of the system also if there are more uh, guests in that OS. So like full virtualization, host computer system, so virtual machine, guest OS. So entire everything they will have access. So that is your full virtualization. Then para-virtual hybrid is installed on the device. Then guest OS is installed into the environment. Guest OS communicate with the hypervisor using API calls. So this is called operating system assisted virtualization. So this is you have host computer system, virtualized layer, then you have guest OS. So direct decision of user request, it will come through this virtualized layer, and then it will go to the host computer system, and then they will get access. So this is the para virtualization at operating system assisted. Hardware assisted virtualization is a virtualized approach that provides full virtualization using hardware capability. It is introduced by Intel and AMD. So it includes embedding virtual machine into the hardware component of a server. So this is directly accessing entire physical resources. Aggregate a small physical service into one large physical servers and use the processor effectively. So that is your hardware assisted virtualization. So types of virtualization: application virtualization, desktop virtualization, server virtualization, storage virtualization, network virtualization. Everything over through the network we can virtualize and we can give it to the system. So this is application. So this is the here you have application virtualized client, physical endpoint of client. This is server. So just they want the application and go through this internet, and they just want to run the application on their own machine. They can go through that. So virtualized application will run on the client side, and they will access through this server, through that who is providing that application. So app virtualization is technology that allows users to access and use an application virtually without any installation. Just like we are using all that application and mobile or system like Google Drive and everything. They host somewhere else, but we use in our, if we are connected to the internet, we will use that application. Now so many applications also we use that. The most common way to implement application virtualization is server-based approach. Like Microsoft AppV, Critics virtual apps, whatever application through internet we use, that is your application virtualized. Enable the user to run applications that are not native to their devices. Earlier they used to install in their system, then only they can use. Now also they can use, but now so many small applications, so many other applications are in that available through internet. So use their, they just use that and they close it. Once internet is closed, that will stay in somewhere else, and whenever they connect to the internet, that thing will be available to them. So like in running Microsoft Word on Linux enables to run remote applications, enhance security by storing data on the server instead of the client, simplifying administration by centralizing application management and maintenance. Everything is one place, like they can share with that other plus also, and that can be, they can do through their co-working also. No installation or maintenance required. It will be the headache of the who is providing that application. There is technology that lets user to simulate a desktop. It can be either locally or remotely. Remotely desktop virtualization is implemented through client server approach. So now see, so Microsoft Remote Desktop 61 7% client virtual desktop. So these are the currently using, considering using within 2 years. So this will be going through this desktop virtualization. Resource utilization, remote work enablement, like whatever they want from that somewhere else, they can use the same desktop and they can work that. So that is security everything will be stored in that server side, and simple administrator, everything is there only, and cost saving. So there is no need of physical infrastructure everywhere, just desktop will be virtualized, and they can use entire infrastructure using the internet. Supports a broad variety of device types, better end user experience. Again, server virtualization, it is the process of restructuring a single server into multiple small and isolated virtual server. There are only physical server is one, but they can be have multiple small and isolated virtual server, and that can be shared with a different client, and if each client think their server belongs to them only. Each of these servers is capable of running independently. A single server can only use one OS dedicated to a single machine. When the server is virtualized, it is transferred into multiple virtual servers which run on different OS. It can virtualize in full per hour hardware assisted mode in any way. So this is physical host server, and then there are different virtual machines, and that will host different virtual servers, and that can be shared with the different clients. So this is server virtualization is increasing. So like VMware, vSphere, Threads VM. So these are some top products which are using the server virtualization. These are statics, they are keep increasing. So small businesses, mid-size enterprises, that they are also using this server virtualization. Minimize cost, faster server positioning and deployment, energy saving, eliminate server complexity. So it is process of grouping the physical storage from multiple network storage device into a single storage device. So even the storage can virtualize, and all that cloud service provider also providing the storage capacity. It is managed centrally. It allows the system to participate in a storage area networks. So these are the storages. There are different servers, and there are different virtualized storage will be given. Physical storage is one, and there are different small virtual storage can be given. That can be opposite also. Small physical storage can be virtualized into a big storage, or uh, large physical storage can be divided into a small storage. Both way it can happen. Automated management, reduce downtime, expansion of a storage capacity. With the same storage, they can have several virtual storage capacity. So storage capacity will increase. Easier updates, enhance backup, archival and recovery process. So this is also getting increased day by day. So network virtualization, it is process of combining the available resources in network and splitting up to the available bandwidth into the channels. So each channel is independent. It helps in improving the productivity and efficiency, even though network is also virtualized, and it like just like all other physical resources, network also will get virtualized using this hypervisor, and each channel is getting independent. It helps in improving the productivity and efficiency. User tools such as switch edge adapter to combine one or more network into a virtual units. So this is virtual machine. So this will be physical server, and then there will be certain network, this Fabricam network, and then this is physical network. Several physical network can be this is virtualized, and they can be have this many things, and that's why they will have different channel, and then it will be uh, used more efficiently. This is also getting day by day increase in that aesthetics. Overall aesthetics, server virtualization, storage virtualization, application virtualization. So most thing is happening in server virtualization. Others also is getting like storage 40% is there currently using. Application also, application mostly now that is going to be increased only. Desktop virtualization, data virtualization, network virtualization. So it will keep on increasing, but server virtualization currently using more. So virtualization using Lego blocks, that is one technique. Using that Lego blocks, you can go through this. Virtualization using Lego blocks can be achieved through various software tools and platforms. There are some options to consider like LeoClad, Lego Digital Designer, Lego Studio. These tools provide a creative and educational way to engage with virtualization concept using Lego blocks, making learning and building accessible to a wide audience. So this completes that virtualization technology. Thank you. Please like, share and subscribe this video. And there is one more video which will morely discuss about three major player of that cloud service providers, that is Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. So these three I'm going to discuss in the next video, and that will be the last video of cloud computing. Thank you.